You know that stress and anxiety are a serious problem not only for the individual but for society. And over the decades, modern research has been very interested to try to determine if there are any significantly effective techniques to reduce the impact of stress and the production of anxiety in individuals. And indeed, comparison studies over many years have shown that stress reduction techniques and meditations in general have a good ability to help an individual deal with stress and to reduce their anxiety.
Okay, well, you say there's a lot of research done, and they've researched a lot of different techniques. What would you say is the most effective technique out there for reducing anxiety?
Yeah, one can answer that question of which is the most effective technique or which are the most effective techniques by doing a comparison studies. If you take several hundred studies and examine the outcomes of those studies, you can ask the question, are any techniques better than other techniques? Now, in general, most people feel that one technique is as good as another technique. But in the last 30 years, modern science has shown that all techniques, all meditation techniques and stress reduction techniques are not the same. And in fact, if you look at the measure of anxiety in individuals, which is a very simple quantified measure in people's lives, and you look across many forms of meditation, it turns out there is one form of meditation which is far and above more effective than all the other altogether. And that meditation which is most effective is called transcendental meditation.
Okay, well, that's very interesting to hear. How much more effective would you say transcendental meditation is over the other techniques?
Yeah, if you compare transcendental meditation to a whole wide range of other forms of meditation and stress management techniques, it is at least 2 times as effective as all the others. And in fact, this 2 times more effective than all the other techniques is highly significant.
Okay, well, I'll tell you one thing I'm interested in though. So you're saying this meditation techniques work for reducing stress and that transcendental meditation is the best and that it's twice as effective. But what I've actually heard about is that even like simple placebo is actually quite effective at reducing anxiety. Has there been any tests showing the difference between transcendental meditation and placebo or other meditation techniques and placebo?
Yes, this is an interesting issue and becoming more and more important to modern medicine. The aspect of placebo. Placebo is when a otherwise non-active ingredient or instruction actually has an effect on the physiology to improve health, like a sugar pill as opposed to an active ingredient of drug. And if the sugar pill has an effect all by itself, it's called a placebo. In other words, that just the idea that this particular item is going to help you, even though it doesn't have an active ingredient itself, just the idea that it will help you actually improves the quality of life in some particular aspect that one's expecting. And so the case is are these different forms of meditation as good as or as better than placebo? Because, well, I practice a stress reduction techniques and therefore I'm going to have less stress. That would be the placebo effect because, oh, I just practice this technique so I shouldn't have any stress. So is it the technique or is it just the thought that I'm a practitioner of this technique? What we find, if you look at the comparative research, is that almost every technique has an effect, as one might expect, and placebo has an effect in reducing anxiety. What we find, which is most interesting, is that placebo and the other techniques are roughly equivalent. They're just barely significant in their ability to reduce anxiety and the influence of stress, whereas transcendental meditation is far and above, by documentation, far and above more effective in reducing stress and anxiety in individuals.